Okay, squats, I could talk for an hour and do demos probably for an hour on different kinds of squats. So I'll try to touch on the big versions that I use. I like to use a table to start with, and I like to have a shoulder width grip or shoulder width stance at least. So my feet at least as wide as my shoulders, if not wider sometimes. Okay, and so I have a good wide stance, and I'll start off by having the person just sit all the way down. So I'm keeping my chest out, looking straight ahead, and I'm coming all the way back and I'm sitting. And I have the weight, my center of gravity going through more the rear of my foot than the front. Okay? So if I let my center of gravity go over my toes, then my knees really start to go forward, and that does put a little more strain on the anterior parts of the knee, which in some situations you might want to do that, but in some situations that's going to cause pain. And usually in rehab situations I want to keep my center of gravity back. So by having the bench that I can really sit down on, that helps me keep my weight back. Okay? So you don't want to see this, but you do want to see that. So I'll have people sit all the way down and then come up. And all the way down and then come up. And sometimes I'll have a problem with people when they come down, if they're trying to come down, they really want to round their back while they're doing so. So I may even start off with having a ball or something. They just hold overhead, and that helps lock the spine up and keep it in the correct position. Okay? Then, once they're keeping their back straight and bending through the hips and not through the spine, then you can start having them use a dumbbell, and they can come all the way down and all the way up, or they can just come down and just now try and just touch. Okay? And when they're keeping their form good, then I can have them start to do the squat with the weights at their side, you know, and nothing to touch, and just come down. How far low you go, the lower you go, typically it works the muscles better, but it might be bad for a particular person's knee depending on their injury, or it might be stressful on their low back. I like to go as far as the knees will let you go without pain, okay, and that your back will let you go without rounding. Usually, or oftentimes I'll find the back is the limiter rather than the legs. People start to come down, and once your trunk starts to impact or press against your thighs, then that's going to make you want to round. So then if you kind of bring your feet outward some and keep your knees out, you'll find you can go deeper before that happens. Okay, but even with these dumbbells, I'm not going to go very deep. Okay, so with the bar, I can get better range of motion, it feels like, than with the knees, but you're getting pretty advanced by the time you start using the bar. So for general rehab, I'll often just use the dumbbells through a comfortable range of motion. But when I'm getting more performance-based, I'll use the bar. So back squat, there's several different kinds of back squats. There's power lifters will do a low bar position back squat with the bar really low, feet really wide, and they really keep the weight on their heels and squat down to roughly parallel and come back up. Olympic lifters and bodybuilders, and probably more just athletes in general, keep the bar higher and they can squat down usually a little deeper. You get more range of motion about your knees. Doesn't work the hips and the low back quite as much. But I can get down to where I'm breaking parallel pretty good, and I'm keeping my chest out and my back in a neutral position or slightly arched backwards. For me, some people can squat very deep with a back squat and keep their spine in a good position. Some people, taller people especially, can't. I can go pretty far, but not the best. Now if I do a front squat, where I have the weight up on the front of my shoulders, now it's easy for me to drop down into a full squat position, like when I was doing my Olympic weightlifting, keeping my elbows high, and then come back up. And this is going to, by doing the front squat, I'm stressing my back less, but also strengthening my back less, but I'm getting more quadricep. So it's a trade-off between the different versions of squats. What's your goal, what you're trying to do, and what kind of injuries you have to work with. And I could say a lot more, but that's it for